Every single day, billions of people across the world pick up their phones and begin to scroll, swipe, like, and share, without ever asking a simple question. Who is really behind everything you see on your screen? The internet feels instant. You laugh at a video, effortless, almost magical, as if content simply appears out of nowhere, perfectly filtered, perfectly arranged, perfectly safe. But behind that illusion is a different reality, one that most people will never see, a world filled with workers who spend their days watching, filtering, and removing the worst parts of the internet. They are known as content moderators, digital gatekeepers, individuals whose job is to decide what stays online and what must be erased, often within seconds, often under intense pressure. Every decision they make shapes your reality, what you are allowed to see, what you are protected from, and what disappears before it ever reaches your feed. And sometimes, the content they face is not just unpleasant, it is deeply disturbing, images and videos that no human mind should have to process. Yet they must watch again and again and again. While millions of people enjoy a clean and entertaining digital experience, these workers quietly absorb the darkness behind the scenes, carrying a burden that most users will never even imagine. Many of them work through the night, in silence, so that by the time you wake up and open your phone, everything feels seamless, untouched, and safe. Long hours, endless streams of content, and constant pressure to make the right decision, all while battling fatigue, stress, and the weight of what they are forced to see. Because the internet never pauses, it never slows down, and for these invisible workers, the pressure never truly stops. It only builds moment after moment, decision after decision. But content moderation is only one part of the hidden system. Beneath the surface of the internet lies another invisible workforce, quietly powering the technology that billions now depend on every single day. Before artificial intelligence can recognize a face, understand an object, or respond to a command, it must first be taught, not by machines, but by humans. Every image, every word, every pattern must be carefully labeled, categorized, and explained, one task at a time. Thousands, sometimes millions of small decisions performed by people you will never know. What you call smart technology is often nothing more than the reflection of human effort, hidden beneath layers of code, invisible, but essential. The work is repetitive, relentless, and often exhausting, requiring hours of intense focus on tasks that may seem small, but together, power entire digital systems. But the people doing this work are rarely seen and often barely recognized. There are no headlines about this work, no recognition, no spotlight, just quiet effort, repeated day after day, behind screens across the world. In many parts of the world, these jobs are outsourced, pay very little, yet demand extreme focus, offered to people in regions where opportunities are limited, turning invisible labor into a global system. For many, the pay is minimal, barely reflecting the importance of the work, yet the demand continues to grow as technology becomes more advanced. Thousands of decisions and actions completed every single day, shaping the future of AI and quietly feeding the systems that power search engines, social media, and artificial intelligence itself. And yet, despite their impact on the modern world, these workers remain unseen, unrecognized, and almost completely forgotten by the very people who depend on them the most. Some moments force them to pause, not because the system stops, but because the human mind does, caught between the need to continue and the instinct to look away. Exposure to disturbing material, day after day, begins to take a toll. What they see cannot be fully erased, even when the screen goes blank, because the brain does not forget as easily as a machine deletes. Over time, reactions begin to fade, not because the content becomes easier, but because the mind starts protecting itself, slowly building a wall between emotion and survival. And when the shift ends, the memories don't simply disappear. The silence outside feels different, heavier, because the things they have seen do not stay behind in the office. Even something as simple as a notification can trigger hesitation, because behind every alert, there could be something they are not ready to face again. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Sleep becomes difficult, peace becomes rare, not because of noise, but because of memory, fragments of images replaying, quietly, persistently, refusing to disappear. At the same time, the rest of the world continues scrolling, unaware of the cost, laughing, sharing, completely unaware of the emotional cost behind their digital comfort. A polished digital paradise world, filled with entertainment, beauty, and perfection, built on a foundation that few people ever stop to question, built on invisible struggle. And in the middle of it all, they pause, just for a second, to breathe, to reset, to gather enough strength to continue. Because no matter how difficult it becomes, the system does not stop, and neither can they. So they return again and again to a job the world barely acknowledges, but constantly depends on. What feels like a simple tap on your screen is actually connected to a vast global system, stretching across continents, linking billions of people, and silently relying on millions of unseen hands. Beneath the surface of the modern world, beyond the cables, the servers, and the code, lies something even more important: human effort, quietly holding everything together. We often imagine the internet as something automatic, something self-sustaining, but behind every system, there are people, constantly maintaining, correcting, and supporting what machines alone cannot do. From one side of the world to the other, different languages, different cultures, different lives, yet all connected by the same invisible role. Hands that will never meet, working together unknowingly, building a system that connects humanity while remaining completely hidden within it. If you have watched to this point, please kindly subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you, Folded Hands. As one part of the world sleeps, another continues the work, ensuring that the flow of information never stops, not for a second, and it continues like this every single day. Every post you see, every search result you trust, every video that reaches your screen, passes through layers of invisible decisions, shaping what appears before your eyes before you ever notice it. Behind the glowing screens and endless streams of information are faces you may never recognize, stories you will never hear. Yet their work quietly shapes your digital reality every single day. Behind the brightness of modern cities, behind the speed of technology, are individuals, working in silence, contributing to something far bigger than themselves. A system so vast, so interconnected, that it becomes easy to forget that at its core, it is not powered by machines alone, but by people hidden in plain sight. Behind every system, every algorithm, every perfectly filtered feed, there is a human face, a real person, with thoughts, emotions, and a life beyond the screen. Each of these workers has a life beyond the screen. Someone with a story, a family, responsibilities, and reasons for continuing, even while the world remains unaware of the weight they carry. Every click is not just a task, it is a decision, one that may seem small, but carries weight, repeated hundreds, sometimes thousands of times each day. Small actions, carrying enormous, unseen consequences. Moments of pause become necessary, not for rest, but for survival. Small breaks in between waves of information that never truly stop. Outside the room, life moves forward as normal. People laugh, share, scroll, and connect, unaware that behind the scenes, someone is silently carrying the burden of making that digital experience safe and seamless. The joy that millions experience online often exists in sharp contrast to the quiet struggle of those behind the curtains. One side sees entertainment, the other sees the labor required to make that entertainment possible. Some begin to feel disconnected, not just from the content, but from themselves, as the line between what is seen and what is felt slowly begins to blur. And when the workday ends, there is no applause, no recognition, no public acknowledgement of what has been carried. There is only silence and the quiet understanding that tomorrow the process begins again. Screens go dark, systems reset, but the human experience remains, carried quietly into the next day, and the next, and the next. For these workers, this is more than technology. It is routine, survival, obligation. A role repeated day after day, often without thanks, yet essential to the functioning of the modern digital world. For most people, the internet feels effortless, a seamless stream of entertainment, information, and connection, flowing endlessly at the touch of a finger. On one side, comfort, convenience, and endless content. On the other, silent labor, unseen responsibility, and emotional cost. Every clean feed, every harmful post removed, every dangerous image blocked before it reaches the public, is the result of human intervention. Invisible hands shaping the boundaries of the internet in real time. These workers are rarely acknowledged, yet their decisions influence what billions of people see every day. Their presence is hidden, but their responsibility is enormous. Across continents, across countries, across cultures, and time zones, millions of workers perform these hidden tasks, connected by a shared role that keeps the digital world functioning while leaving them invisible within it. Their names may never be known, their stories may never be told, but their labor is built into every search result, every recommendation, and every online interaction we experience. And every time we open an app, every time we scroll through a feed, we move through an environment shaped by human labor. Invisible workers remain hidden behind the smooth digital surface we take for granted. At the end of every shift, they walk away quietly, often unnoticed, carrying the weight of work that keeps the online world running, while receiving little recognition for the role they play. The internet may look like an automated machine, but behind every screen, behind every click, behind every moment of digital comfort, there is human effort. So the next time you open your phone and everything feels instant, effortless, and clean, remember this: somewhere behind that screen, someone you will never meet, made that moment possible. The internet is not invisible, the workers behind it are.